We will. All right, we got it. So we're recording, and thank you for joining us this evening. We've got an awesome opportunity this evening to share information. And also, I just want to say welcome on behalf of our director, Ashley Cash, and Mayor Jim Strickland. And we do so appreciate them for allowing us to do this every third Wednesday with the different topics. And if you think 2023 has been something, you just wait to 2024. Snap, snap, snaps. Also, I would be remiss if I did not introduce whom I think, it's my opinion, is the best team in the whole wide world. And that is Mr. Sherman Robinson, who is our neighborhood redevelopment coordinator, Miss Stephanie Hope, who we affectionately call our newbie, and Miss Tammy Davis. I know a lot of you may have received phone calls from her. Well, that's put the face with the person that's calling you, and that's Miss Tammy. And we have Miss Lakeisha Smith, who is on holiday, who's on vacation. You know, I know everybody's getting ready for Christmas, and we really appreciate you spending your almost Christmas Eve time with us this evening. But again, thank you for sharing, for attending, and also please take advantage of the chat if you have questions, comments. You will be receiving in mid-January a survey from us with some questions. We want to know, how can we better serve you? So thank you again. And now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Sherman Robinson to introduce our speaker for the evening.
Thank you, Ms. Cox. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I do have a pleasure of introducing our presenter tonight, and it's none other than Ms. Qwanesha Ward. She is a Chattanooga native and has served as Memphis Fire Department's public information officer since November 2021, and with the department for 5 years as a firefighter paramedic. Prior to joining the Bluff City Braves, Qwanesha's dedicated 8 years of her career as a firefighter and AMT with Chattanooga Fire Department. In her role as a public information officer, she is responsible for cultivating a greater identity for Memphis Fire Department through the many mediums of media, public relation outlets. Qwanesha also actively works to ensure that the department is integrated in the community by spearheading programs and initiatives that build community pride and educate our citizens from the Memphis Fire Department's commitment. Beyond her uninformed duties, Qwanesha's passions for the community extends into her involvement with organizations such as Junior League of Memphis, Habitat for Humanity, and Feed the Needy. Qwanesha is the proud mother of 3 amazing children and the wife of a loving and supportive husband of 8 years. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Ms. Qwanesha Ward.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Good afternoon. I'm excited to be speaking with you tonight. When they reached out to me and wanted to have me participate in this, I was very excited to just educate the community on how to interact with first responders, because I know it's some myths out there, some miscommunication and information. So I'm excited to dive into this and hopefully build better relationships with the people on here and people in the community. So want to get started. The first slide. So, like I said, building strong connections between first responders and our community is vital for keeping everybody safe. We, as the first responders, we are here to assist during emergencies, and when we have a positive and cooperative relationship with the community, it allows us to be able to do our job effectively. Clear communication, just that mutual respect are key and to make sure that we're doing our job the best that we can, especially during high pressure situations. And when we work together smoothly, it enhances the service we provide, it makes the community safer, and it's just a better place for us all around. Before I dive into the meat of the presentation, I do want to kind of just give you some background of the Memphis Fire Department. So our mission statement, you can go to the next slide. Our mission statement is teamwork with the commitment to excellence, compassion, and immediate community protection. We also have a FIRE acronym that we use, and it stands for focus, integrity, respect, and excellence.
Hold on, having a few technical difficulties. Hold on one second. All right.
Okay, there we go. And so just to elaborate on this, so our mission statement, this is sort of what we're driven by. We want to provide excellent care. We want to be compassionate and provide that immediate community protection at all times. And that's just, when we go about our day-to-day as first responders, especially with Memphis, this is just our mission statement to keep us focused on our mission, our purpose, and our vision. And every firefighter, we have about 1,700 firefighters that work for Memphis firefighter paramedics, and we're all trained firefighters and have EMS license, but we all take an oath when we graduate. And every time I hear this oath, I smile, and it makes my heart smile just to hear the oath that we take when we do graduate and go out before we get ready to serve the community. And it's something that is very important, and we really take pride in, and that's just the oath to protect the community at the best of our ability, to gain the public's trust and to never betray that is some of the things that's in this oath that we take very serious. Let's go to the next slide.
Hold on. Yeah. Come back out of it again. Why is keeping stuck? Hmm. All right.
Okay, so just a little bit about the service that we provide to everyone in the community. For the year 2023, we had about 135,000 EMS responses and 24,000 fire incidents. And of that, we've had plenty of fire inspections as well. And just to give you just a little bit of insight, we stay very busy, and we run a lot of EMS and fire calls. And we're a very, very aggressive fire department. And I just wanted to kind of give you just the insight, because I know you a lot of people are like, well, how busy are we? This is just a view of how many responses we run every year, just to put that in perspective. Next slide. We are a all hazards fire department. I feel like with enough resources, the Memphis Fire Department, we can handle virtually any challenge that comes our way. And that's just because we are all hazards fire department. A lot of people don't know, and this was an opportunity for me to just educate people in the community that we are prepared to respond to a broad range of emergencies, from EMS to vehicle fires, hazmat, confined space, building collapse, rope rescues, water rescues, natural disasters, active shooters, and pandemics. Like, we handle everything. And we are the ultimate problem solver. We do training, and we are taught to think quickly and adapt to all of these situations. And while the general public may not fully be aware of all of the specialized training that we do, I want to reiterate that anytime you call 911, you will always have a fully equipped, high-trained firefighter and EMS personnel that's going to arrive every time, ready and willing to assist with anything or any emergency that you have. Next slide. So let's dive into how to effectively interact with first responders. Knowing when to call 911. So with that, I want to just put that out there. Knowing when to call 911, you want to call them for life-threatening situations, serious emergencies. It's not appropriate to call 911 for a noise complaint or non-threatening illness or just general questions that you might need. Instead, you need to make sure that we have non-emergency numbers that you can use, but 911 should be just reserved for car accidents, house fires, anything where it's immediate life threat. Some of the things that you want to know when you do call 911, because when you call 911, that's the first line of getting the resources that you need. Is first dispatched through MPD, and MPD reroutes that call, at whatever, whether it be a fire call or EMS call, they reroute that to MFD dispatch. And one thing that'll help in an emergency situation is to know your address and your location. Be aware of where you are, know the intersections, know landmarks to help the dispatchers be able to get you the right resources to you and don't delay the resources that you need. If you are an apartment or a business, make sure you know the name of that business. Make sure you know the room number. Make sure you relay this information to the dispatchers so it's no delay. Know your phone number, just in case you get disconnected, that dispatch can be able to call you back and get in touch with you. You want to be able to clearly describe your emergency. So we all know in the height of a situation, you might be upset. It might be a lot of stuff going on, but you have to be able to give dispatch the right information and be able to relay that information clearly so they know what to send. Oftentimes we get excited and we get frustrated. I've heard a bunch of people in the community ask, well, why does dispatch ask me all these questions? And why can't I just tell them my emergency? But like I said, in order for them to get the right response to you, it's important that they ask you those questions. And another thing, dispatchers, they often give you instructions. So let's just say, for instance, you have someone that may be in a need for CPR, or they're having some type of medical emergency, where they're trying to give you step-by-step instructions on how to stabilize that person or your loved ones until we can arrive on the scene. So you just want to make sure when you're talking to dispatch in the heat of the moment that you still listen to what they're saying and follow dispatch's instructions, because they're there to help you. And then you want to remain calm. You want to remain as calm as possible, stay composed. And be patient with us. Understand, I know you might feel like time is moving slow during these emergencies, but know that help is on the way, and our dispatchers are working tirelessly to make sure that they get you the help and the resources that you need. A pro tip that I tell a lot of people that you might not think of: if you're having an emergency, one thing that you can do, if you have someone that's available at the home with you, have somebody standing out front waving our first responders down, or turn your porch light on, just so that we will be able to find you and be able to get to you quickly. The most important advice I can give is having your home address clearly visible for first responders. And this is important for several reasons. A timely response. When we get there, most of the time when it's a true emergency, every second counts. So having your address visible where we can see it will help us be able to get there in a timely fashion. Because oftentimes we have to spend time, we waste time trying to find the address or the location, the right location. Also, an enhanced safety, knowing where you are, and especially in the nighttime when it's dark, just being able to see what we're doing. Because most of the time, we go to emergencies and it's outside. And just for the safety of you and the safety of our firefighters, just having that address on your home is a big one for us. And just a peace of mind, just knowing that if you do ever have an emergency, that you're going to be easily found, because you do have markings and they're visible for us to get there. Next slide. So I want to talk just a little bit about just some innovative ways that we have, the Memphis Fire Department have come up with to handle like non-emergency calls. And I wanted to take a moment just to educate, because you might run into some of these resources that we have, some of these new innovative and programs that we've just started. And I want you to be familiar with them just in case you do encounter them. And one of them is our care team. This team responds to complex emergency. They respond to incidents where someone might be having suicidal thoughts, mental or behavior health crises. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're not having an emergency, but they might need a different type of care versus ambulance showing up and being transported to the hospital. That's another resource that we have. We also have HUG. This is also a program that they work with anybody who calls 911 more than 3 times or within 7 days too. And this person goes out to just better understand and address whatever issue that is that's causing them to utilize 911 so frequently. Is it a matter that they need prescription? Is it because they need a place to stay? And just try to get down to the underlying issue so that we can minimize the amount of times that they call 911. So that's also another resource that we have available. And the one that I've had the privilege with riding on and being a part of and actually seeing this program work is RADAR. And RADAR stands for Rapid Assessment, Decision, and Redirection. And so this is, as you can see in the picture right there, you see like an SUV with a guy outside the vehicle. And this is a non-emergency vehicle. They have a paramedic on it and is evaluated by an emergency physician. The same way you would if you were to call 911 and call an ambulance. We show up in this SUV and we have the same capabilities as a paramedic that would show up in an ambulance. And you get to talk what we call Zoom, like we're doing right now, with a physician, the same physician that you will see in the ER. And we develop treatment plans for you and try to redirect you from going to the hospital and saving you that time sitting there. And most often I've seen it work especially on non-emergency where you're having like a toothache or earache, I'm able to show up, allow you to talk to a physician, do a full assessment. We still come into your house, take your vitals, blood pressure, and things like that. But if it's non-emergency and after you talk to the physician and you agree to that treatment plan, then most often they will give you some medicine on the scene and also call you in a prescription later on at the nearest pharmacy of your choice and save you that trip to the hospital. And also free up ALS ambulance, some ambulance that could possibly be going to more of the critical calls like the gunshots or the heart attacks or strokes, where you really do need that ambulance to show up and transport you to the hospital. Next slide. And so you can go back to the next slide. So the outcome for all of this is to, it's probably not gonna let you go back. That's fine. So the positive outcome for all of this is to, there you go, to increase the total health through patient-centered care, reduce emergency room visits, reserve first responders for true emergencies. Like I said, it's also cost efficient for insurance providers. And it also lowers the medical costs for patients, because instead of you getting a high bill from an ambulance when it's not a true emergency, you're not going to be billed like you would if you was to ride on an ambulance, or take a trip to the ER and get a healthy bill from the ER as well. You can go to the next slide. So let's talk a little bit about move over and slow down. So this is how to interact with first responders when you're on the road. We've had several incidents where, I'm just gonna be quite honest, like where they're not paying attention. We're out on the roadways, we're doing our job, we're trying to take care of other patients that might have been involved in a wreck or having some type of medical emergency, and it's like they have no regard to us on the highway. They don't see the lights and they run into us. And often that's when we're the most vulnerable, because we might have our back to the traffic because we're literally trying to offer or render care. And so we're not always able to just have situational awareness. And you can see in these pictures, these two pictures are from accidents that we've had where people just ran into us and not paying attention. And so I really wanted to just focus on this just a little bit about what you should do if you see an accident and we're in the median or we're pulled over. Most likely we're going to have a piece of equipment that's going to be blocking us, but we've seen it where you can have, like you can see that fire truck right there. You can see where that car just came right around that. Even with the blockers and even having extra equipment to block us and protect us on the highway, we still see vehicles go around to try to get around or get wherever they're trying to go in a hurry and hit our personnel. We had a firefighter, they were on a wreck, and if it wasn't for his lieutenant pulling him at the last minute, he would have been hurt worse than he is. He had to have surgery and stuff like that, and he's still with us, and we're grateful for that, but it could have been a lot worse. So oftentimes as a driver, we can tell when someone is about to panic, when they're unsure of what they need to do. In general, the public tries to do the right thing, but they often don't know what the right course of action is. And sometimes you'll have a situation where a vehicle will stop in the middle of the road, and that's not what you want to do. If you hear sirens or you hear us behind you, don't just come to a complete stop, because we have a bunch of weight on the fire trucks and we're carrying a lot of water as well on our engines, and it's hard for us to stop. So if you hear sirens or you see a vehicle approaching you, don't just make an abrupt stop in the middle, because that can cause more problems. when we do approach you, try to get over to the right if you can. Always be aware of the traffic that's around you. You know, do so safely. If you need to get over, don't just automatically get in somebody's lane and cause a secondary accident or anything like that. But if you hear sirens and you see an ambulance or a fire truck or a pumper approaching you, get over to the right, because we're taught to pass on the left. So by you going left, you know, just try to anticipate what we're going to do. And like I said, that's going to be where we most likely go. That's going to be our clear path. We're always taught to pass left. So try to get over to your right. Now, it is a difference between pull over and go to the next slide. It is a difference between pull over and move over laws. So when you pull over, what we mean by that, or move over, is if you see in that diagram here where you have the fire trucks in that median that pulled over, you want to do exactly what that vehicle is, and that's move over to your left. That's the only time you really want to move left, is when there's already an accident on a highway and they're already at a standstill. You can move to the left to avoid. And that's what we want to teach everyone. If you see us working on a scene, if you see us in the roadways, get over to the left, go around, move over, give us space to work. But like I said, most of the times we will have blockers. We've been doing really good with having TDOT be on the scene with us when we're working on the highways, but just be mindful, don't be distracted, get out of your phone. We teach that, and just be aware of the work that we're doing on the highways, and give us just some space to do what we need to do, and slow down. Let's see, can you go to the next slide? So dealing with EMS, let me see. So working hand in hand with EMS, medical professionals, when paramedics, we visit your home, whether it's for an emergency or just a routine check, knowing how to interact can make a significant difference. Some of the ways is to remain calm. And I know I've been saying that, especially in emergency situations. Panicking, it can make the situation way worse than it is. And it can be a challenge for you and for the paramedic. So in the middle of emergency, when things are heat, just remember to just remain calm, give us a little bit of grace. You want to provide clear information to us. Like, we'll get there, and I know it might be a lot going on, but try to make sure that you give the paramedics and the EMS workers as much information, the appropriate information, to be able to treat properly. So if we ask you, hey, do you have any medical history? Do you have any allergies? Do you have anything going on? Please help us in giving us that information, because that allows us to make a more informed decision about how we plan to treat. Follow instructions. If a paramedic or EMT or a lieutenant, we show up on a medical call and we give you instructions, hey, can you move this piece of furniture out the way? Hey, can you do this? Can you clear a way for the stretcher to get in, or anything like that? Just be mindful that if a paramedic or somebody's on the scene giving you instructions to help, that's because we really do need your help. And just follow our guidelines, because we are trained, we are experienced, we are the professionals, and we wouldn't tell you anything to harm you. And one of the other things is try to stay out the way. Oftentimes on emergencies, we have family members that just want to be right there, and we understand and we want to be sympathetic to that, but we do need room and we do need space to be able to do what we need to do. And that allows us to not have any distractions as well. Let's see what else. Ask questions. That's one thing. If you have any type of concerns or questions, it might not during a high level incident where we're trying to provide life-saving care, might not be the time to ask, but I'm pretty sure most of the time when we get on the scene, it's us, an ambulance, a first responder company, is a lot of people on the scene, and it's somebody there that you can pull to the side and say, hey, tell me what's going on. Can somebody explain to me what they're doing? Don't be afraid, because that's what we're there for. Yeah, we're going to be doing our best to save your loved one and do what we need to do to give them the best possible chance for survival or whatever's going on. But, you know, when you catch a break, or say we're cleaning up or we're getting ready to leave and it's still personnel left on the scene, don't be afraid to ask questions. That's fine. And they should be willing to give you answers to your questions, because, you know, that's what we should do. I think I talked about provide access. I kind of went over there already. Just give us access to what we need to be able to do our job. Respect privacy. We want to respect your privacy, but we also ask that you respect our privacy. Sometimes we show up and you might have people that's not directly related to the loved one or whatever. Just, you know, that's some of the things that we want to be able to provide space when we're doing medical assessments and treatments. So don't be alarmed if you come outside and we're in the back of the ambulance and we're providing patient care and we shut the doors. That's the privacy for you and your loved one. It's nothing, you know, we're not trying to be disrespectful or anything like that. Just know if you do encounter a situation where a paramedic or EMS personnel is telling you like, hey, can you step back, give us time, and you feel like they're shutting you out, but they're not. We're just trying to respect everybody's privacy at the time and make sure that we have enough private space to be able to do what we need to do. Stay updated and express gratitude. So after we've provided care, you know, communication goes a long way. Just a simple thank you to our first responders, it goes a long way for all of the hard work that they do, because I know they're working hard out there. They can go a long way. You can go to the next slide. Interacting with firefighters. So just remember, like I've said over and over, that when we show up, we're working to protect lives and property, and we don't need anything getting in the way of that. So make sure you keep a safe distance. Make sure, you know, if it's a fire incident like that, just make sure you try to stay out the way, because we have multiple pieces of equipment coming through. We got sometimes a lot of equipment. Just make sure you stay a safe distance, because at any given time, that situation or that emergency, it can change and it can go south really fast. So keep a safe distance. My big one is do not block fire hydrants. Never park in front of a fire hydrant. That's critical when we're needing to get a water supply. We've seen it done a lot of times. And even though we can go to another hydrant and connect to another hydrant, but to help us be able to put the fire out in a timely fashion, just be cautious of that. I mean, I know sometimes it's hard, but if you see yourself, and you can see in this picture where the firefighters are trying to connect to the hydrant to get a water supply, you can see that vehicle is parked, you know, quite a bit away to where they still have access to the fire hydrant. So just make sure you do stuff like that. Follow instructions. Avoid unnecessary crowding around. Respect the fire lines and the tapes. If we tape something off on a fire scene, make sure that you respect it. Don't go around that, because that tape is there for a reason. It's there to keep you safe. And also cooperate with fire investigators. You know, Lord forbid anyone has to deal with a fire or have a type of incident like that where they lose property. but just know that sometimes you may have to talk to a fire investigator, and don't let that be something to where you think that is being blame is being placed or anything like that. They're there to do their investigation. Sometimes our fire companies and our officers, they can't determine what the cause of the fire is. That doesn't mean that it was anything malicious done or to place blame. It's just to be able to understand what caused the fire. And sometimes it's most often because we can't make a determination of what happened and for insurance reasons. Next slide. So let's talk just a little bit about resources that's available to you. The city of Memphis, we offer free smoke detectors to every resident. And you can apply for those, and you can see on the screen by going to the Fire Museum of Memphis. You can call this number here, or you can visit any fire station. When you visit a fire station, you will give them your address, how many smoke detectors you need. We prefer you to have, if you have 2 levels to your home, you should have at least 1 smoke alarm on each level. A firefighter will take down your information, and a fire company will come to your house and make sure that your smoke alarm is installed properly. Next slide. I want to talk about a little bit about 1-800 board up. So after a fire incident, you might run into a situation where your house is left exposed, and you want to be able to protect that. 1-800 board up, and that's something, if you encounter a fire, you might hear one of the chiefs or lieutenants recommend 1-800 board up, and they're a 24/7 response team, and they come out and make sure that your house is boarded up and protected from after a fire. And this is to prevent any additional harm from the weather or vandalism, because like I said, most of the time you're away from your home and you need to have it secure, and just that overwhelming feeling of still having things in your house, and you want to take care of that and preserve it as much as you can. So just know that that is a resource for you. If you do encounter fire, to be able to call them. And like I said, they are 24/7, and it's a team that's ready and available to help you after a fire, because it's fire damage is it extends past what you can physically see. Mold can start develop inside your home within 24 hours. So you want to keep anything that you can in your house safe and dry from those conditions. Let's see what else. Red Cross assistance. A lot of people, they don't realize that this help is out there to after the incident has happened. Red Cross, I've seen them do some amazing things for families that have been affected by a fire. But you have to be sure that you request that when companies on a scene. You can request it later, but it's better if after the incident, if it's on your mind. I know a million things will be floating through your mind, but and we have our officers, our firefighters and our lieutenants and the officers, they're good at trying to make sure that they provide Red Cross for families who need it. Not everyone needs the help, but just to know that that resource is available to you is very helpful. And I've seen them every time we've called out and reached out to Red Cross. They've been there to help if we need it. Operation Rescue. This is another resource that I want to kind of get out to the community. Is not being pushed as enough as a need. This right here is a way, if you have anyone in your home that is bedridden or wheelchair bound or have special needs, to fill out this form. And the purpose of this form is to alert the Memphis Fire Department of any individuals that need special assistance in case of an emergency. We just recently had a fire fatality where we had a guy that was wheelchair bound. And this helps us as first responders, as firefighters. It gives us a notification early on while we're responding to the incident that there may be someone that needs special rescuing, the form is very detailed. You want to be as detailed as possible. Tell us what room they're most likely to be in, how much they weigh, just different areas in the house. That way it'll prompt our firefighters to know, okay, as soon as we get on the scene, this is where we need to be looking first to give them the best chance for survival. So if you know anyone in your neighborhood, if you know a neighbor, you know a family member that needs this form, you can access through memphistn.gov and go to it'll prompt you to go to Operation Rescue. You can also print that form off and mail it to Fire Communications Bureau at 79 South Flicker Street if you're not able to complete that form, but it is a digital form. As soon as you complete it, it submits it to where it needs to go. Let's talk about fire reports. We do get this a lot. We get a lot of requests out in the community for fire reports, and this is mostly for insurance purposes. If you ever have a fire, you're going to be expected, your insurance company might want a fire report. And you can pick these fire reports up in person at 2201 Lamar Avenue, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. They are closed from 1 to 2 for lunch. And a phone number you can reach them to get those fire reports is 901-636-5429. Next page. Stay connected. It's important that you stay connected. Visit your fire stations, connect, try to build a relationship with the men and women that serve you in your community. That's another way to build the relationship. Take the kids by there, go visit, just things like that. We also have an active Facebook. I manage that Facebook. I manage all of our social media platforms. I try to post a lot of stuff on there, but on Facebook, I post a lot about our warming centers, our cooling centers. If you know people in the community that need shelter when it's really warm outside, or you know people who might need shelter when it's really cold, now that we're in a cold months, I post that anytime we have one that's open. So you can visit our Facebook page to really find out things that we got going on in the community to help the community. Another website is OEM. They post a lot of weather safety tips. That's also Facebook. They are a part of us, but that's our Office of Emergency Management. They post a lot of great tips on what you can do when we have a power outage, or when we was going through the winter storm and we had that freeze. They really post a lot of helpful tips on their social media page. Twitter. I use Twitter a lot to post about fires, major incidents that we might have, just so that I can update the public, try to get them to stay away from that area. Any type of hazmat or anything, that's where you can find majority of the information on our Twitter page. I also want to talk just a little bit about Memphis alerts. This is something that was implemented in February. And since then, we've had about 291 severe weather alerts. And I don't know, we've been trying to push this citywide and increase the participation, but this alerts citizens on any type of civil disturbance we have, any type of boiling water advisories that we have, like shelter in place, any type of active shooter situations. We recently used this on an incident that happened where we were trying to locate a suspect. You get missing persons alerts, and this is just a way to keep you connected with what's going on in the city anytime we have a major incident. And you can get this through text messages, an email notification, or you can get a phone call. So it's flexible in a way that you receive your alerts. And if you want to sign up for that, and I recommend that to everybody just to stay connected and informed to sign up. And you can access this through www.memphisalerts.com and sign up and join and get alerts that way. Next slide. So that's it. I hope I didn't go through this too quickly. My information is right there. Anytime you have a question, if you have a question outside of what we discussed today, if you need additional resources or anything like that, please email me at that email right there. I'll try to return your email as quickly as possible. But that's all I have.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
How are you?
All right.
This is Tammy Davis. I got a question.
Okay, go ahead.
How many fire fatalities we done had this year?
Oh, you asked me that, huh? I can get it for you. Actually, I think I know it. I thought I had it here. I don't. I can get back with you with the amount.
Okay. My reason for asking was because most of the time when you have fire fatalities, somebody be to mess with the smoke detector. I'm just getting that for my daughter. She like to mess with a smoke detector.
What does she like to do to it?
Just take it down and then put it back. She gonna put it back up.
No.
You can't do that.
Why does she take it down?
Just the noise and then put it back up. She always put it back up, but the bottom line is, I tell her all the time, you can't keep messing with the smoke detector. You gotta leave that up.
Well, you have to tell her the reason why it's making noise is because she probably needs to change the batteries.
Need to change the batteries.
Yeah.
I tell her that all the time.
Yeah,
I think it's about time for her to replace hers. So tell her to call you.
Yes, she needs.
Yeah,
So
because it's
tell
just
her
going off,
well,
like chirping, like.
So something that we also do, we also go out and change batteries. So
Change
she
batteries,
needs to,
yes.
Yep, we do. So if she visits one of the closest fire stations that's close to her, they will come
Yes,
out and
ma'am.
change. They will come out and change the batteries. Be able to tell her, please do not take that smoke detector down, because she just
That's
needs
right.
to change the batteries. Yes, because
but I would still want to know that question about the fire fatalities.
I will
Okay,
get it. Yep,
so I
will
can
get it
tell
to
her. I'm
you.
trying to scare her.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get it for you.
Any more questions?
I have one for Ms. Ward.
Mhm.
I don't know if you mentioned the price. What's the charge if you, I guess, if you call the ambulance and they take you to the hospital? What's the charge?
So it varies.
Okay.
It just all depends on what type of services was rendered at the time. I know it used to be a running myth that it was $1,500 to take a ambulance ride, or $500. Like I said, it all depends on what is done in the back of the ambulance as well.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, I would like to say thank you for your service. And
we appreciate you.
Thank you to
Thank you.
Those first responders. My mother, I think we called the ambulance maybe 3 or 4 times within the last 5 years. And every time they were very, very, very gentle with her. And it was just, it was I mean, whatever she needed or whatever happened, and some, they were just really, really, really nice. And we stood outside and flagged them down, waited till they came, and they were just gentlemen. And
Yeah.
we have a lady as well.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons we wanted to have this session was to say, we have to be able to build relationships. And I think that's what this is all about. And knowing how to interact with one another, even in emergency situations, and
Yeah.
Yes.
in control of ourselves, because emotions and adrenaline is flowing. But you guys do an awesome job. You really do.
We
Thank you.
So,
an absolute must. Thank you guys.
You're welcome.
so does anybody else have any questions? All right. Well, if there are no questions, we want to say thank you, and Mrs. Ward, and we really appreciate you spending your evening with us. We appreciate each one of you guys spending your time with us, and especially during this season. And we want to say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy, Hanukkah, the whole nine. Again, thank you to the one. Thank you, Miss Garner, for joining us this evening, Miss Sally Garner. And we do appreciate you, Miss Ward, and we hope that you'll come back and join us again. We are debating on when we're going to go back in person.
Mm-hmm.
So we would love for you guys to come during that time.
Y'all were in person at one point?
Yes, before COVID.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
So after COVID and during COVID, we felt like in order to keep it going and to stay connected with the community, we would do it virtually. And it has
Okay.
worked. It really has. But, we're missing people. So
Yeah.
again, we're debating and trying to figure out when would be the best time to go back in person, because we've had as many as 500 to attend a couple of these. So
Oh,
yeah, and to get this type of information out would be awesome to the city of Memphis.
absolutely. I agree.
So having said any other comments, questions, while we have this young lady who has done a tremendous job, and we do thank you. Everybody snap, 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 snap.
I hope I didn't. I hope I didn't go too fast.
No, you were
No,
wonderful.
you did good. Very well.
And this is being recorded, so we will put it on our Facebook page and the website. So having said all of that, have a wonderful Christmas, wonderful rest of your evening. And if any questions that anybody else can think of, just give us a call or send us an email to our office, and we'll be glad to share the information. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.